to see you all again. I hope you had a good night's sleep. Unfortunately, we've been here all week when we were supposed to be here just Monday. There are important issues to decide. We stand as a conference on the Democratic side ready to vote on all the issues of the day that have been outstanding all week. We can't understand what the holdup is. We were in the Capitol for 13 hours yesterday. We were in session for 1 hour. And we all know that there are significant, important pieces of legislation that thousands of people throughout the state and even people throughout the country are watching and hoping that that we can resolve one way or the other. There's no excuse for the slowness and the delay in the legislative activity that we've been undertaking this week. And we're here to stand up and say, let's get it done. Let's bring all these bills to the floor, and let's end this session in a productive way, the way so many people would like to. But this has gone on far too long. We're here, we're ready to govern, we're ready to legislate, and we just hope we have the opportunity to do that today.
Each day we're being told, yes, we're going to get these bills done. Where is marriage? We know that there are at least 31 members of the Senate who have committed publicly to wanting to vote for marriage equality. Bring it to the floor. The Senate Democrats, when we were in majority, were prepared to bring it to the floor, even though, from my opinion, unfortunately, it went down. Now, conventional wisdom is when it comes to the floor, it's going to pass. Why aren't we bringing it for a vote? It's outrageous. Their health exchange bill passed the Assembly, three-way agreed. We're at a risk of losing over $100 million in federal money. We were there, as Mike Gianaris just said, for 13 hours yesterday. The bill was printed. There was a message of necessity. We were wrongly told there wasn't a message of necessity, but the Assembly passed it, so there must have been. This is a critical issue affecting health care in New York State, the potential to move at least 1 million additional New Yorkers into insurance coverage at the earliest possible date, an immediate risk of a loss of over $100 million of federal money. Why are we not passing that bill? There is no justification. We are 5 days into, I guess five days past when we thought we were going to be done. We were sent home last night without really any explanation, saying there were no bills to be done, but I know for a fact there was marriage, there was the health exchange, there were other critical issues, and instead we were discussing corn and onions much of the week. That's not what the people of New York care about. There is no excuse.
It's actually worse than that. I think that we should stop playing games with people's lives. It's been very contentious this year. You know, on both sides of the marriage issue, a lot of passion. Frankly, I think it's even dangerous. If you saw the scene last night with the troopers up in the galleries and people from both sides up there waiting for an answer from government. We should give New Yorkers closure on this. There should be an answer on marriage, 5 extenders on rent. And last night, they didn't even bring up an extended, quietly in the middle of the night, with troopers in the galleries and people very passionate about issues on both sides up there. They quietly scooted out of the chambers. We should give New Yorkers answers. We should resolve this. We should pass the budget. We should pass the rent laws. We should pass marriage equality. We should bring these issues to the floors and let the chips fall where they may. To continue to play with people's lives is not acceptable. You walk the hallways there. I've been here 14 years. I haven't seen the level of anxiety and passion, and frankly, to the degree that, you know, it's very scary right now. So New Yorkers deserve an answer. Let's get this done today.
Any questions?
What are they telling you the holdup is? What's the explanation you're getting?
We don't know. We're not getting any explanation. You know as much as we do. All we know is that day after day we show up, very little gets done, and then we adjourn while everyone's waiting for bills to come to the floor for a vote. We're here as a conference. We stand ready to vote on all these issues. We've made clear what our position is. We've made clear that we're ready for a vote, whether it's marriage, where we stand 29 strong on the Democratic side, ready to vote to make marriage equality a reality, or on the rent laws, or on the health exchange. We have some very significant issues that are standing unresolved day after day after day. We're now in overtime of session, and there's no excuse for it.
After last year's epically late budget, how would you respond to critics who would say that it might be a little bit early for Democrats, and you were all in the majority conferences in the two houses last year, it might be a little bit early to talk about castigating the Republicans for tardiness?
I don't think it's too early at all. We're sitting here, you see the scene in the Capitol every day. There are people from all around the country watching what's going on in the state Capitol. We go home at midnight after a session, put on the national news, and watch the scene that we just left at the Capitol, because the time has come. Everyone knows what the issues are. They're sitting there waiting to be resolved. We stand ready to vote on them. Let's get it done.
Do you think that they should bring the marriage vote before they tackle the other things, the rent and the other bill?
Whatever order it happens in, we need to address all these things. You know,
If there's bills ready, why wouldn't we move those bills? I mean, I can accept the argument there are some bills not in print. Obviously, we cannot vote on bills that have not been printed. And by the way, the public has the right to see those bills before they're brought for a vote. I feel very strongly about that. But we have critical bills that are in print, and we're not moving them.
Senator, doesn't holding the marriage bill give the Senate Republicans leverage on these other matters that are still under negotiation?
This shouldn't be a game of, of a three-car Monte game. Where's the red? This is a serious issue affecting millions of New Yorkers. And to sort of like strategize your way around it doesn't do service for New Yorkers.
But isn't that the way it often happens?
Well, we want to change that culture. And that's what we're talking about. How has the culture in Albany changed? When we were in the middle of the night with people up in the galleries, with half a dozen troopers up there, and after we were criticized for not extending the rent laws because we wanted to encourage negotiations to go forward, they scooted out of chambers without saying a single thing about the fact that tenants will not be protected by the rent laws, about the fact that millions of New Yorkers will not get an answer on marriage equality.
So senators, what are you guys doing then to change the culture? What are your plans?
We're pushing here to tell the public that things have not really changed with regards to that particular matter, that in fact, this process has not been transparent at all. If you want to talk about, a non-transparent process, that's what happened this year. In the middle of the night, no daylight, issues are discussed based on strategy, not on the substance of the issue, on the content of the bill. And people are just tired of waiting. People are fatigued. There is Albany fatigue, and we should bring closure to this.
And what we're pointing out is there is slightly less than half of the Senate ready to do business. We're ready to go to the chamber immediately and vote on these bills.
So I understand that. So have you been having discussions with the other side to say, hey, listen, we got to get this done? Like, that's what I'm trying to get at.
Absolutely. We've made very clear to the Republican members of the Senate, to the Republican leadership, that we are ready to vote. We are ready to take up these bills as soon as possible.
And we were ready to go into session at 10 a.m. this morning, but session has not started. So we're here, we're ready. You are right, there are strategies, but explain to me the strategy of refusing to take a vote on people's civil liberties because you're trading something else. With all due respect, I understand discussions of property tax and mandate relief being negotiable because they're tied to each other. I don't accept that we should be refusing to take a vote on marriage equality because we're debating constitutional technicalities on mandate relief.
Senator Krueger, you've been
14 hours yesterday, you say you were in session 1 hour. What the heck is everybody doing for the rest of that time?
That's what we'd like to know. We are in conference, we are communicating with advocates, with our colleagues, trying to figure out how to advance these agendas and close down the session. What the Republican majority is doing, we have no idea. That's what we're asking. That's not up to us. We'd like to end today. We would have liked to have ended on Monday. But the fact is, the Republican members of the Senate are not bringing this session to a conclusion.
Do you think the gay marriage vote will come to the floor at some point? What's your level of optimism?
I sure hope so. It sounds like it. We were optimistic last night that it was coming, and unfortunately it didn't. We stand 29 strong on the Democratic side, ready to make that a reality. We understand there are 2 Republicans who are publicly there, so we're just waiting. And if it comes to the floor, we're hopeful and optimistic.
Senator, it looks like you or someone on your staff has been tweeting Lady Gaga's Little Monsters, asking for help on marriage equality. Do you have reason to believe that the delay here has led this bill to perhaps fall apart behind closed doors?
I certainly hope not, but any time you're waiting, and something that you believed was ready and baked and ready to come to the floor doesn't, you should be worried. The
Thank you.
longer this goes on, you should be more worried.